Hello, welcome to the Honest Football Coach podcast. I really forgot what it was called then. With me, Dan Steele. As you can see, I've got another guest, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matty Lee. How are you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, not bad, Dan. How are you, mate? All right.
Good. There's a little bit of a delay, I think, a little bit. Don't worry about it, though. It's all good. Thanks for joining me, mate. I know we've been talking a little while off camera. So you give me a little bit of your background, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah. So when I first started coaching, it was at Newcastle Town, like a soccer school when I was 15. Wanted to do something that sort of helped me through school, keeping my head and stuff, and not going down the wrong path, sort of thing. When I was a kid, progressed sort of from there. It was quite hard for me to commit to as well because I didn't drive and stuff. It was far from Bentley where I grew up. And then I moved to Norton Wanderers. That's where everything sort of kicked off for me. So the guys at Norton, I managed to coach an under-7s team at the time. I think the boys are like 12 now, so it was that long ago. And it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We've had players that have gone on to Man City and stuff from Norton.
Wow.
One of the young lads, I won't mention his name in case obviously his parent doesn't want him mentioning or what have you, but he scored 112 goals in the one season for us in the cups and the league together combined.
Wow, okay. So just putting in there, sorry, Matt. So when you're saying you've got a player like that who you're coaching, how much involvement in his development have you had then? Have you created that? Did he come with nothing, or is there a lot of natural ability there maybe? Or
he had a lot of natural ability, so I think Dad at the time helped him out a lot because his dad had done some coaching. I think we've got quite lucky in terms of falling on the child that we had. But I very much said to him that you've got like a sort of a key role if you can try and do this, that, and the other. But he's obviously, like I say, he's only 6 or 7 anyway, so it was kind of, you've still got to give other kids the game time anyway.
Of course.
So and the other players in the team as well, absolutely incredible. There's a lad I remember. He scored his first ever goal for us. It was a penalty, and he after he scored the penalty, he scored every week, and it was like it took him 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks to score. Scored, and he's like, "Right, can I go strike? Oh, go on, then I'll try you out." And then Dunnington, he scored every week. So
it's crazy. It works out. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that was in the old 5-a-side format because I think it's 3-a-side now, isn't it, for under 7s?
It is next season, I think. So, what are your thoughts on that? Kids playing 3 against 3 football. There's no goalkeepers or anything. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Or
I think it's bad personally. I grew up as a goalkeeper, played for some decent sides as a goalkeeper. So if that was me in that boat, I wouldn't have a position on the pitch. I'm terrible. Well, I'm not terrible at field. I'm all right, but my favoured position was goalkeeper. And I think I think it helps players to become all rounded. I think that's a positive. It helps players to be all rounded, so they learn to defend, they learn to pass, they learn to attack and shoot and score and all that. But I think just in terms of you haven't got like an out and out defender, an out and out attacker, and I suppose they can learn that as they go up, and it's just the start of it for them. But I think 5-a-side, like even when I was there, we picked like a sort of formation. We played like 2-1-1. He starts putting that in there for them and getting them to learn, and you can still make them an all-round player by rotating them anyway in those different positions. So for me, that's the negative of it for me. But
somebody somewhere must have sat in a room. I think the FA model. We were talking about this in that last episode. The FA model. They know what they want to do and how they want to play football, right the way up to the senior England team, don't they? And when you're copying European teams, I was told that this 3v3 comes from Holland. Again, if you could tell me different, then tell me. But that's what they do, and they sort of develop their kids to have a better ability with the football. But my son's a goalkeeper, so straight away I'm thinking, hang on a minute, what? Because nobody wants to go in goal. You goalkeepers are crazy. You know, we're growing up kicking a ball on a council estate. If you went in goal, it's because you couldn't play anywhere else. That's kind of
Yeah, that's what
you
it
were
was
picked
for me as
last
a
if you
kid.
went
Yes.
in goal. You know, but there are actual genuinely good goalkeepers knocking about, and I just felt that
Yeah.
we might miss them earlier on. But then again, who am I to say? I don't know.
Yeah. But then you could have like
Super.
a Hannah Hampton story, for example, where she's played outfield and got
Yeah,
injured at going goal, sort of thing, gone in goal, and then she's a World Cup European winner, whatever she is. So,
absolutely, absolutely. So somebody's
you know,
obviously done the research, haven't they? Which
yeah.
is pretty cool.
Another thing on that similar sort of thing for me, Dan, would be the heading in kids football.
Okay.
Now I know that's obviously to prevent injuries, like lifelong injuries and stuff, and
Yeah, of
concussion
course.
and what have you. But for me, again, that takes out another type of player, like
Hmm.
a Peter Crouch, like a Harry Kane, where they're good with the head.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been sort of a believer of a target man, somebody that can head a ball, cross, like play with your wingers, cross it in a
Yeah.
4-4-2 or 4-3-3 sort of thing, get it in, bang header or a volley or, dive in, something
Yeah.
like old school football.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that takes out that kind of player then. I suppose, like, again, we could touch back on, they might just get through the ranks anyway because they can play with their feet, and then they
Yeah.
use the head when they're older, but then they've not had 20 years of already using the head, have they? Or 10 years of
Well,
already using the head?
it was really weird because I mean I started with all lads at Bradwell from the soccer school, so they were all under sixes
Yeah,
really, like yourself. So then I had them under sevens, under eights, under nines, under tens. I'm pretty sure that this rule was changed after I took the team over. So you weren't allowed any throw-ins as well.
yeah,
They developed into kick-ins and things like that. And the idea is the ball is moving more rather than just
yeah,
throwing a ball in. But I actually agree with what you say. I think there are certain styles of football, again, that the FA might be trying to implicate and everybody's comfortable on the ball. But I noticed you stoked up there. What's wrong with the
yeah,
4-4-2 ball up in the air kind of target man kind of thing? And we spoke
exactly.
about it
Yeah,
before that exactly, there's different ways to win a game, and it might not be the
yeah,
best way, it might not be the most attractive way, but if you've got those tools in your locker, then why not use them?
exactly. And and a lot of the time, if you've got that target man, they can play off another player that's more agile, that's more of a footballer than for me, it just takes out that kind of style or
Yeah,
a one player out the system type thing, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
back to defenders again, though, like look at a Harry Maguire, how much he uses his head, and people like that. If it
Yeah,
wasn't for him, Harry Maguire, before we wouldn't have got to finals and stuff in the Euros and what have you. So
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
so
But
that's my
then I
opinion on
suppose,
it, Dan. Anyway,
yeah, that's brilliant, and I suppose anybody watching who has a different opinion would always come down the line of the severity of injuries that we've seen,
of course, and I can't
throughout
take
the
that
years.
out of it at all.
You can't. I did think something. I mean, when I first heard they were going to take heading out, I did have this sort of negative response in myself that thought, well, you might as well take punching out of boxing. It's not the sort of. It was a big
Yeah,
part of the game for me. I used to play
yeah,
centre half. I'm 6'1". I couldn't really do anything else. So I just stuck my face in the way, and that probably explains a lot, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Yeah. So other
No
than
comment.
kids football, then I believe you've carried on coaching with adults as well.
Yeah, so I went from Norton when they sort of sort of parted to down to City of Stoke. Uh, I had to leave because again I couldn't commit, couldn't drive, and it was a bit far. The guys at City of Stoke, by the way, are absolutely wonderful. Love what Lee's doing,
Yeah.
and I'll be back down there, I'm sure, at some point to give him some help with something. Hopefully, if Lee lets me. Um, we, yeah. So following on from Norton, we went to, where did I go? That's a good question. Uh, uh, 18. I went to Birches FC from there, which was an adults
Okay.
team. So with that, I was sort of player assistant manager because I could play. The guy Andrew Malbin, bless him, he's unfortunately passed now.
Okay.
At the time, had got me in. He wanted to sort of nurture a coach that is going to help him for a few years. and had that same style of football as me anyway, as to what we wanted to play. So I kitted up 6-7 times in the season sometimes. Played outfield and that. So when we lost, it was my fault. But no, in reality, that was sort of where I started my adult sort of coaching. Really, learned loads from him, absolutely loads. About that when the right time to make a substitution in adult football was, because it's rolling subs in our leagues, and and I met loads and loads of players as well as a result. Like, you get to know so many people through football; it's unreal. And we just like I say from there, and then after Birch's Head, went to Port Vale under-14s girls with Landon Burton, again another incredible coach. He says I must have been 21 at the time. He said to me, I'm a young coach with an adult mindset in football, because I play very much like an old
Nice
style of
compliment.
football. Yeah, exactly, 100%. And I took that, in a great way, and we won pretty much everything with Port Vale. I think we lost in the cup quarter final. We won the league. We had a great set of girls there as well. Absolutely great set of girls there as well. And the parents were all pretty good as well. And then from there, I just got into like pub teams, from local pubs. So before the Brindley's Lock shut down, I did something with the Brindley's Lock pub in Patmore.
You know where you are.
We had a team there. Obviously the pub shut down, so we had to move. Went to the Furlong and Tunstall.
Yeah.
We'd already had a team, so we were sort of trying to play in bottom division, and and it was good. We had a great side. It was just things didn't work out as it should have worked out at the pub.
Yeah.
And which is absolutely fine. And then I've set up this year Tunstall United, so
Brilliant.
it's good.
Super. So you're keeping busy then, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I like to, Dan, to be honest.
Yeah.
For just footballs, people say to me, "You bleed football, Matt. If I was to chop your arm off, footballs will come out," sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So that's just me, though. So.
Super. So just going back to the clubs that you've run then, so I'm more interested, I'll be honest with you, in the sort of adult side. I know you've done a lot of kids football as well, but I've never run an adults football team. So what would you say were your main challenges with adults football then, in particular?
I think a really big challenge, and something that we've had particularly this season, is when you have the step up from people coming from under-18s football into adults.
Okay.
The level of physicality, the level of reading the play, the level of, I don't know, they just seem to be a bit different, if you know what I mean. So I've had youngsters before that have come in and really excelled in my team in adult football. But like this season, we've had a lot of previous under-18s, or they've just got back into football or something, that have struggled with the physical side, and the I think the reading of the play, because we're playing against adults that have played for 20 odd years. Some of them. So it's really, really difficult at that point, to be fair. And then I think another hard part is you've got to make sure everyone's there all the time. We've got an actual Spond, which is great. We're on Spond. You can put your availability on that. You say, right, we're playing, I don't know, this team at the weekend. Set it up. Okay, 25 players available. Who can play? Done. You can take your money through that as well into your bank accounts. It's really, really helpful. So it saves it all going in a group chat and whatever else. It's good.
Yeah. I'm still on WhatsApp myself. I tried the Spawn thing, but it just didn't seem to work. I didn't get any more than I could on WhatsApp, so it was one of them strange things. It's probably, I'm trying to put a link between what I do and what you do, and You talk about player availability, and I suppose, I don't know, is adults football the same as when I used to play centre half? Their striker always used to back into you, and he'd smell of kebab and beer from the night before. Do you know the players that are going to turn up? You're always going to get your star striker turn up 10 minutes before kick-off, and all those sort of problems. The sort of issues we have in sort of kids football, from what I talk to loads of coaches about, is game time. It's a big thing, so equal game time. Do all the kids get the same game time? And at what point do you start putting a team together based on ability or attitude, or the guy that turns up for training every single week? Is he a shoehorn in the side? I suppose it's a different problem at adults level, but it's a difficult one, I think, because we're go on. Sorry,
no, I was just saying, Dan. I think they do offer different challenges, but also similar as well, if you know what I mean. So, like you say, you get one person that might turn up smelling like a kebab. You have to knock on the door of another one to get them out of bed at 10 to 10 when you kick off at 10:30. But loads and loads of different things. Luckily, in adult football, you can say that, look, it's a £1 fine if you don't turn up and what have you. Just have a laugh about it and stuff like that, or you've got to sing in the change room or something. Where they're like, oh well, I'll turn up on time then.
So there's a bit of a forfeit.
Whereas in kids football, yeah. I mean, we've got. I think it's like a £1 fine or a £2 fine or something like that, which they're not bothered about because it's like sort of pittance, but at the same time they don't want to pay it either. So just say, well, turn up on time then.
Yeah.
So you can get away with that in adult football. Kids football, I remember before we've had players, this person's unavailable because they've got, I don't know, a kid's birthday party, or they're not available because they're grounded or something like that, or a couple of different things really. So it's really similar. Like that, obviously, you saw the kids. It's obviously their parents and stuff, and the parents might be, I don't know, hungover or something as well. So they're running a bit late, and it's like, I can't drive yet. Still, it happens, and that's quite a, that's no dig at anyone. Like adults can still be adults, can't they? So
of course you can. Of course you can. And I suppose, I'm a parent myself, and I can kind of see it from both sides of the fence. I suppose sometimes, I mean, I'll tell my lad Harry, he has training on a Monday, he has training on a Wednesday, he plays on a Saturday, he plays on a Sunday, and I suppose sometimes he'll play every night if he could, but he's going to burn himself out, and when it's starting to affect his night's sleep because he can't get up for school, then I suppose as a parent you've kind of got to manage that a little bit. That has an effect on his side, though, doesn't it? If you haven't got, if you're short of numbers, let's say, that has an effect. You kind of want them to turn up for your game. You want them to turn up for your training session.
Or a player that's playing at like 60-70%. It's better to have a player that's had a rest and playing at 90 to 100% rather than 50-60%. Or they've just someone's like, if they've come back from injury sort of thing, you don't want them to get injured or anything, do you?
Absolutely.
So,
I'm just thinking about getting them singing the changing rooms or something. If try to get these 10-year-olds sort of a sing song together, I don't think it's going to work, is it? Bless them. Another thing or another topic that comes up all the time, and it will be brilliant to get your viewpoint from an adult coach point of view, is the thankless task of refereeing. I think referees, I've tried refereeing myself and it's not for me. We can't play games. Honestly, it's really tough. We can't play games without referees. People seem to be volunteering for referees or to be referees. I understand the money's okay. It's good. I'm just curious to what I've seen in the past with referees. Now, again, my lads are under 10s, so we tend to get the younger lads. I think you can be a referee at 14. So we get 14, 15, 16-year-olds after a bit of pocket money. What I am really impressed with is when the older guys come, the guys who have retired maybe, and they come for a bit of pocket money, because they slow a game down and they'll stop and they'll talk and they'll explain. I was just wondering, from your point of view, I suppose, when you say players coming in from the junior leagues to the adult leagues find it difficult. Do you think referees find it difficult in that step up as well?
Yeah, I think sometimes they can. I think it's a confidence issue. I think it also depends what team that they're refereeing, if that makes sense. So like I'll help at any sort of referee out now. I used to be a bit funny about referees, which I will openly admit I used to be a bit funny, because I used to be like, why is that decision happened? Why has this happened? And blah 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 blah. But I've sort of grown up a bit more, and I think to myself now, yeah, you're right. Same as you, Dan. If it wasn't for referees, we wouldn't have a game. So what I try and do now is I'll say to people like, look, I've got mates that are referees now. If you want me to say or do anything that'll help you out, to just give me a shout, and it's not a problem. Like this morning, I was doing a pitch inspection with the referee. We met up, did the pitch inspection, tried to fix the pitch before we called it off. It is what it is. But no, I think in touching back on the age difference, it's obviously you can get 18-year-old referees that come in adult football, and I think they might need like an FA referee mentor or a little bit of guidance in terms of how to handle it. Because if you've got a one that's 5 foot, for example, or 5'5", and you've got a 6'5", 6'7" player that's like in his 30s, 40s, looking down on you saying, "Oh, what's it?" Can be a bit intimidating, I can imagine. You know, so I think not any criticism to any league or anything like that. I think there could be more guidance as to, once they've become a referee, okay, we'll get you up with linesmen every week maybe, or we'll get you on a game where the league are going to come and watch how it goes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know, given the due in our league, they have done that in the past. Like they've put them on with linesmen, or they've asked them to be a linesman while they get used to it and stuff. And they are quite good with that. And what they do also really well in our league is, if anyone wants to volunteer that's over the age of 18, they fund half the referees course for them as well. So
really, okay,
so that's really, really good, positive about our league, to be honest.
absolutely.
The North Staff
That's
League.
good. So obviously,
they fund half the referees.
yeah, so obviously that's something that the league are heavily investing in, because obviously they can see what everybody else can see, that we can't play football without referees, can't we?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. When you mention a linesman as well, that's got to be a worse job than refereeing a game, man. So you're standing on the side, and you're a bit close to the touch lines, and you to the coaches and what have you. If somebody's going to whisper something to you, it's going to be there, isn't it? But yeah, it's quite interesting. Have you never fancied it yourself?
I've done a bit.
Have you?
I've done bits in like a couple of tournaments down at Eastwood Hanley before, years and years and years ago, when I was assistant manager at Birch's Head. They needed somebody to step in and help out. But I remember one young referee at the time. I can't remember who he is now, but he got quite upset with something that one of the parents was saying. And like I say, I was only like 18, 19, 20. And we ended up, myself and Andy at the time, having to speak to this parent and going like, "Luke, he's an underrated referee, he's got an armband on. He clearly needs a bit of support with a decision he's made. Can we please try and not be aggressive about the way we're approaching him? He's clearly upset. From this point, I'll make the decision and I'll referee the game." And then I ended up refereeing the rest of the games of that tournament for that young referee that decided to not do it anymore.
They do seem like a target, don't they? The referee does seem like a target, and it's kind of, I mean, we had a friendly with me lads Saturday team, and I reffed the friendly. Again, I turned up in my tracksuit bottoms, and the coaches were giving me grief, and it's kind of, I had to go. You shouldn't have to go across and speak to anybody. I don't think, anyway. So you shouldn't have to go and speak to a coach about the sort of conduct and comments, especially in front of kids. It's weird. But we sort of give referees. It's like we can fire anything at them.
Yeah, and like I say, Dan, I mean, I mentioned to you off camera before, like, I've been sent off a few times as an adult coach. When I was younger, I used to be extremely, extremely passionate and bring it across in the wrong ways and stuff with how I was saying it to referees, rather than at the end of the game, "Please, can you explain that decision to me? Done, it's dusted, it's over." I used to go, "Oh, can you this, that, and the other? You're this, you're," and then it's instant red, and it's like, well, standing at the top of Tunstall Park away from everyone, and it's like, well, what's the point in and doing that, because it's not good for me every week. I'm paying £45 fine and whatever else, and I've got a 2-match ban, 3-match ban, and it's not worth doing when you love your football. So that side of
And
things, I think in some levels of football needs to be cut out in terms of the abuse. So, like I say, I've sort of learned how to express my passion in a different way. I'll say to my coaches, "Oh, that's done my head in," or what have you, about a decision that's not made. I was like, "Oh, I thought that was a pen," or whatever. Just speak to my coaching staff rather than going and talking and saying it to the referee and the liner, and then getting wound up and whatever else about it. So, but given the due now, referees are decent. So
yeah. Well, it might just be an education thing or a bravery or a confidence. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I remember playing a game with my lads under 10s, under 9s last season, and we were away at Norton, and the referee gave a penalty, and it didn't look like a penalty. So I remember going to the ref at half time and just saying, "Ref, can you explain that to me, please?" And he turned around and he said, "I'm sorry, I got it wrong," and it blew me away. And I went, okay, that's fine. He still gave the penalty. They still scored from it,
because
but he
we're
literally said,
adults
"I
and
got it
we're
wrong. I'm
humans,
sorry."
and I've said before, I might make the wrong substitution, or I might set up the wrong formation, or have the wrong tactic idea for this game we're playing. We make mistakes as coaches, and some people don't realise that happens, and then we'll go and say to a referee, "Oh, this, that, and the other." Well, they're just human as well sometimes, and I think, like I say, I've got a lot of mates that are referees, and some of them have been promoted fairly recently as well, and stuff. Really, really, really good lads, and there's some of the people, like, I get them in for friendlies. There's like 3 or 4, 5 maybe people that are classed as my mates, but are also referees. I'll say, "Look, pre-season, will you do me this one, or can you jump on this Sunday, that Sunday, and this midweek for me, and what have you?" Because I respect them, because they'll explain a decision and they'll say, "Oh, maybe I have done this wrong or that wrong." You know what I mean? So it's good, and I think coming from the top level of football, from the Premier League down to grassroots football, I think there could be a little bit more of that explanation, but then at the same time there could be a little bit less of abuse towards referees as well. So
Absolutely.
I think it works both ways in terms of respect. Like, so
I think you can't go to a Stoke game without hearing the supporters' thoughts of how the referees performed. I won't sing the song, but and that's, I mean, kids are watching that as well, aren't they? So you've got to look at it from both sides, I think. But I do like the idea. I love the idea of mentor. I think that's important for everybody. I think even coaches, we spoke about it last week. It was,
100%.
You do your level 1 or wherever it's called now, and surely that if you were continuing education, then you should have a mentor of some description. So
yeah,
maybe
definitely.
It's one for the future.
There's somebody I know that is a mentor now, and he's really, really good at it, to be honest. Martin Irvine. Really, really good FA coach mentor. Very, very experienced in his football. He alongside like Lee Robinson from City of Stoke have helped me again to progress. And he was a mentor. Lee Poynton for me was a mentor. So I've been sort of mentored with people that qualified and unqualified to do that in football. So I've been really, really lucky to have these people. But other people might not have that, and might not have the people that you can turn to and say, "Look, I need a little bit of an helping hand. What can I do with this, and what can I do with that?" And I, as an adult football coach now that's been doing adult football for however long, still need a bit of advice now. So
absolutely, and we do, and like I say, at Bradwell, we've got a chap, Keith Finnemore's.
Keith Finnemore, class bloke,
he is Mr. Bradwell. I mean, you talk about cutting your arm off and football's coming out. Blue and black footballs come out of him, honestly. But he's the point.
And I know Keith Darney is the top guy. So.
He is. So we've shouted quite a few names out there. Hopefully, I mean, I'm talking to Lee at some point with some lads from City of Stoke, so maybe get some of those other chaps on as well and come and have a chat with them. Matty, that's been brilliant, mate. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming on and speaking to me. It was open and honest. That's what we were getting asked for. So appreciate that, mate.
Well, hopefully it sounded all right then, Dan. Anyway, mate. So you'll have to
we'll put something together, mate. It'll be brilliant. Thank you very much. Cheers, buddy. Take care.
Lovely, jubbly. Cheers, mate. Take care.